Just wanted to say welcome. Thank you very, very much for coming today. Even though we do have a little bit of rain coming, but hey, we're the West Coast, so we just have to tough it out. So I'd like to introduce two of the artists that we have today. On the one hand, Andy Everson from the Comox Nation. He's going to do the blessing of the totem poles today. And Richard Krentz from Seashell, Coast Salish Nation. Richard will talk about the meaning and the background of the totem poles. So thanks again for coming. And Andy, if you could
call on four sacred elements. And so you can see on my face, I've got red ochre that comes from the earth, and that represents the earth element. We have water from the sky, so we're very grateful of that for the water element. We have the eagle down to represent the wind because it blows through the winds, and we have cedar branches, and that represents the fire element because wood can be burned, and so it's a transformative type of element. And so we're going to call on these elements to help with this blessing of these poles today. And the chant that I'll be singing is an ancient Comox chant.
What's known quai me what's known quai me what's known quai me
I'd like to call on Richard to talk about the pole.
Thank you, Andy. I'd first like to acknowledge that this is the traditional territory of the Comox people, and I thank them for allowing these totems to come down here and live maybe the rest of their lives here. And it's a very proud moment for me to have Walter take these totems from my place and put them here. I'm very glad and proud and honored that Walter did that. This particular totem, they all have stories, of course, just like you and I. We sort of look at totem poles like they're a single entity, like they're almost another being with their own spirit and everything. And this particular totem, one real rainy day, almost like today, and even worse maybe, this fellow showed up at my gallery, and he was a French-speaking person. I couldn't understand him, and he was in a wheelchair with a helper. But I had a friend in Vancouver that was French, and so I phoned, and the guy told me that he was from the Louvre in Paris and wanted to commission a totem pole. And of course, I didn't even know what the Louvre was. I thought it was just another museum, you know, and I said, well, has he got any money, you know? It's always the first thing you ask. But anyway, it's turned out, we contacted the newspaper here in Courtenay, and they traced it down, and he was from the Louvre, and he was looking for a totem pole, and he did give me a deposit, but he never ever showed up again. And so I carved this totem out of the wood, because I got the best wood I could, and at the top is, of course, the frog, and then the raven and the whale. So we got a beautiful story out of it anyway, and there's newspaper articles all about the whole thing as it transpired, so that's the story of this totem pole.
Yeah.
Come rolling down the hill. So this has a story also, as I built a longhouse up on top of Grouse Mountain, and we had a tour through the bush, and I did all these totem poles to tell the story, and this story here actually was twice the story. So what happened was it was left out in the wintertime, the snow come and covered it, but in the spring the snow started to melt, and snowcats chewed the whole top of the totem off. So I just cut it off here and left this part of the story. And actually this is one of our legends in seashell. And when the creator was creating the seashell territory, he got tired and thirsty, and he knelt down near Pender Harbor. I don't know if you guys know where Pender Harbor is. There's a rock out there, and you can see how he's cupping his hands, and he's actually reached into the little crevice in the rock and got fresh water. And today there's still a spring in that little reef where supposedly the creator rested and drank water. So that's the picture of it. He's on the rock here with the ocean and the salmon below, and also that little more sorrel up above. So that's the story of the little totem.
Thank you very much.
What's known by What's known by name, Yeah.
Thank you, Andy.
So again, this totem also has another story, and I forget what year it was, but it was the year that we first knew that we were going to try to get the Olympics to Vancouver. And everybody knew that there had to be a First Nations component, but there was nobody sort of together at that time to even start the planning of how we were going to do it. And so I was approached to try to put something together so that we could at least get started. And so this was one of the projects, is to bring Mount Currie and Squamish together, because they sort of had the biggest part of the Olympics with being in Whistler and in Squamish. And so we did this totem pole, and the kids from both the reserves did the center part. So the bear stands for Mount Currie, and then the Thunderbird for Squamish, and then the middle part was done by the young people. So it was a pretty significant pole at that time. And we also put together a whole bunch of venues in Whistler, and we were able to develop that into the 4 host nations. So it's quite a history with the Olympics of Vancouver.
Where was it carved?
It was carved in Whistler.
In Whistler
Yeah,
itself, the whole pole?
Yeah, it was carved at a festival called Weetama, which we started. And Weetama is the name for the Whistler marmot, the whistling marmot. The native name is Weetama. Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you very much.